even somebody like Bono and somebody like Piers Morgan are saying that Israel has gone too far. Those are total fence sitters. They don't take any stand on anything that it could in any way, damage their reputation amongst the elites. So if they're coming around, I think that that's a sign that things are moving in a direction that is more positive. However, one of the downsides, the true downsides to the collapse of the Zionist state, the Zionist control, is when you have a leader like Netanyahu, who is very reflective of the Likud and a substantial portion of the Israeli population that lives there today. What you will see is this incessant amount of bombings, overkills, if you will. And this particular story about a doctor who had 9 of her 10 children killed in a bombing the other day, leave it to somebody that we consider a good friend and one of the true, maybe the best activist in all of politics, and that's Medea Benjamin of CodePink. She does a very heartbreaking but effective message regarding what happened here.
2 days now, and I can't stop thinking about Dr. Alaa al-Najjar, a pediatrician, a healer, a mother. The military in Israel bombed her home in Gaza. They targeted her home. When she came back from the hospital, she found 7 of her children's bodies charred beyond recognition, buried in the rubble. 2 of them still missing. 9 of her 10 children gone in an instant. The youngest was only 7 months old. The eldest was only 12. Her husband and surviving child are in critical condition. The names of her children deserve to be spoken. Please excuse my pronunciation. Yahia, Rakan, Lukman, Razlan, Jubran, Ev, Rivan, Sidra, and Sidin. May their memories be a blessing. Can you imagine going to work to save other people's children, only to return and find your own buried alive? Can you imagine the weight of that grief? I can't. This is one of the most horrifying stories I've ever heard. Yet you barely hear it mentioned in U.S. news, and certainly you never hear the names of her children uttered.
We're too busy talking about 2 white people that were killed outside of the Israeli or wherever that was. I'm like livid. I'm like beyond.
No, well said. Yeah.
And as I'd say to Jen, and as I would say to you, as I'd say to everybody, the best thing that happened with the 2 people that got shot in DC, it further proved just how evil and vile the Zionist movement truly is. This is just about a bombing of 9 children being killed. You just had 14,000 children that were starved to death. Notice how fast that story disappeared, because they don't want to address that one.
Well, I actually think that's why the other story appeared. So we have our theories, but I think
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But I do think that this is an example of how hypocritical, and I guess the right word is, I don't know what the right word is. Honestly, I try to choose my words carefully. I try to be as politically correct as I can without completely allowing my Irish rage to get the best of me, because it easily can. But it is shameful beyond words, but it's also a reflection of their ideology, in my opinion, is doomed. It's going to fall. And it is on us to use our platforms to speak truth to power about how evil and vile they truly are. And credit to Medea, who is also Jewish, who has made it her mission in life to never let any of these psychopaths on Capitol Hill have a moment's peace. Now, some of them do it. They're all guilty. Some of them do it as a means to an end for their political careers. But a lot of them truly are bloodthirsty psychopaths like Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Brian Mast. I mean, Brian Mast shows up on the congressional floor with the IDF uniform on. As far as I'm concerned, that should have been grounds for removal from office altogether. That's insanity. But when the Israel lobby controls the amount of political, cultural, and economic share of our system, it's not surprising that they're doing that. But I do think that their hubris is getting the best of them now. So we'll finish this out.
This is not a war on Hamas. This is the systematic destruction of Palestinian life. And Israel's depravity keeps reaching new depths. We must not look away. We must continue to demand accountability. And we must continue to support the people in Gaza and say, free Palestine.
I want to play one other clip that just happened. This is from, I believe, the opposition party in Jerusalem. And this just happened, I believe, earlier today.
שאתם לא יודעים כמה אני רואה אתכם חלשים. אתם אנשים חלשים. חלשים מאוד מאוד מאוד. אחרי שנה וחצי על מלחמה שהרגתם בה 19,000 ילדים, 53,000 תושבים.
Notice how psychopathic the women get.
No, they're unredeemable. It's unfortunate. They're unredeemable.
What makes it even worse is that I appreciate what the guy is saying, but Jen, how far off on the numbers is this guy?
Yeah, no, well, that's always the case. We're all off on the numbers. His just reporting the numbers we're all told. I think it's 500,000 people. But anyway, continue.
That looked like a Heil Hitler to me, Jen.
I don't even know but see, the problem is even within the Knesset, within their group, there's no people that are on what would be our team. Nobody. There's just varying degrees of their team. So I'm not exactly sure who this guy is and why he's arguing, but it's interesting because they're most liberal, progressive people, other than the few Palestinians that just sit there for tokenism. None of them actually believe that Palestine should have self-determination, right? Like they just generally don't agree with that principle. So this guy, as liberal as he might be, he's still with them. That's what we always have to keep in mind. They are not redeemable. You want to just let this keep playing this? Because it's hard to even know who's fighting who in these. It's like psychopaths fighting psychopaths. Yeah, that's about the amount of dissent. But you know, that's to be expected again. And this is someone who, and I don't know who that is, but he's only saying this now, and we have no idea why. It could be that who knows why, but he was probably fine with it when this all started. None of these people care about Palestinians having a state. None of them care about them as people. None of them. So they all have different reasons for opposing what they're doing, all political, not moral. That does not exist. There is maybe 1% of the population in Israel at this point that is actually fighting against the genocide. And those people are equally disgusted by their own country. So, but other than that very small group, they're too far gone. Israel, they've been through, 3-4 generations of propaganda brainwashing of superiority and supremacy and complete impunity. And that's too ingrained. They're too far gone. I've said it before. They are not capable with coexisting on this planet with the rest of us. They're just not.